Okay, so we're diving deep today into the London, Ontario real estate market,
Yeah.
specifically for all of you out there who are thinking about buying or selling or investing. And all of this information comes from Forest Hill Real Estate,
Yeah.
their distinction branch here in London.
hmm
If you want to get in touch with them for more expert advice,
Yeah.
the website is www.foresthilldistinction.com. So today, we're going to go through their latest market report and try to find the most important takeaways for
Yeah.
you.
Most important takeaways. Yeah.
Like, what are the big trends? What do people need to know?
Absolutely.
So let's jump right in. What's the big headline here?
Well, the big headline is um, sales activity dipped a little bit in March of 2025. We
Oh.
saw 508 transactions, which is
Mm-hmm.
down about 33.5% year over year.
Oh, wow. That's a big drop.
That is a significant drop,
A
but
big
it's
drop.
important to understand what else is happening in the market.
Okay, so a dip in sales on its own doesn't really tell us the whole story.
Doesn't tell us everything about
What
it.
else is going on?
Well, at the same time, we've seen a pretty big jump in the number of homes that are actually on the market. So active listings are up over 21%.
Okay.
And that means good news for buyers.
More options.
Yeah, more auctions, more selection, maybe a little less pressure than we've seen in the crazy market of the last couple of years.
Yeah, like more time to think about it. And
Yeah, a little bit more breathing room.
it's likely to get into a bidding war, hopefully.
Yeah,
Okay.
potentially.
So that's good.
That is a good thing for buyers. Absolutely.
So more inventory, but what about the big one? What about price?
Right. Well, the average price in the London St. Thomas region,
Okay.
it's only dipped just a tiny bit, like less than 1%.
Okay.
We're looking at about $643,000.
So it's basically stayed the same.
Yeah, pretty much stable. Yeah.
That's reassuring, especially if you're a seller.
Yeah.
You still want to know that you're getting, good value for your property.
Right. And we can see that in another metric, the sale to list price ratio. That's basically holding steady compared to previous years, which means that sellers are still getting pretty close to their asking price.
Okay.
So, yeah, the market may be a little bit slower,
Mhm.
but the value is there.
Yeah. Yeah.
The value proposition remains strong. Maybe as those broader economic uncertainties kind of settle down,
Mm-hmm.
things could start to heat up again. And for a buyer, that could mean getting in now
Yeah. Well, things are a little bit,
calmer.
yeah, calmer could be good.
Could be a really smart long-term investment.
So it pays to be prepared to plan ahead.
Always.
Now, the report also breaks down average prices by area,
Right.
which is really helpful if you're, thinking about a specific part of London or St. Thomas.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, for example, in Central Elgin, the average price in March 2025 was about $777,000.
Yeah.
Now, if we jump over to London East,
Okay.
much lower, about $510,000.
Yeah.
London North was about $753,000.
Okay.
London South, $645,000.
Okay.
Now, some of the pricier areas,
Yep.
like Middlesex Center, was about $975,000.
Oh, I got that. Yeah.
St. Thomas was $568,000.
Okay.
And Strathroy Caradoc was about $633,000.
Interesting. So you can really see that variety.
Yeah, it's not just London.
Yeah.
It's like hyper-local.
It really is. Yeah.
So the overall average for the whole region, that was about $643,000.
Yeah.
But, depending on where you are,
Huge difference.
huge difference, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the report also talks about the MLS HPI benchmark price,
Right.
which sounds really complicated.
It sounds a little jargony, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's important.
It is important. Yeah.
So can you explain it like I'm 5 years old?
All right. So think of it this way. The average price can be a little bit misleading because it can go up or down just based on what types of homes happen to sell that month.
Okay.
So if a bunch of really expensive luxury homes sell 1 month, that's going to bunk up the average, even if most homes aren't actually selling for that much.
Okay, so it's not really representative.
Right.
Okay.
Now, the benchmark price, on the other hand,
Mm-hmm.
it tracks how the prices of typical properties are changing
Okay.
over time. So it gives you a better sense of the real trend in home values.
So it's more like a long-term view.
Exactly. It smooths out those little bumps in the road.
Okay, I get it.
Good.
So what did the benchmark numbers tell us for March 2025?
Well, the overall benchmark price for all types of housing in the London St. Thomas region was about $614,000.
Okay.
And that's actually up 1% compared to last year.
So that's good.
It is good, yeah.
It means that overall values are still going up,
Yeah.
even if things have slowed down a bit.
Exactly.
Now, what about specific types of homes?
Right. Well, if you look at single-family homes, the benchmark was about $666,000.
Okay.
And that's actually a 2% increase year over year.
So even though sales are down a bit,
Hmm.
Single-family homes are still appreciating.
They are, yeah. That's a key takeaway from this report.
Okay, good to know.
And one-story homes, they actually did even better.
Ah,
Their benchmark was around 613,000, which is almost 5% higher than last year.
wow.
So they're really holding their value.
This is strong.
Yeah, two-story homes also saw a positive trend. The benchmark was about 711,000, up 1% from last year. So for those types of properties, we're still seeing that long-term value growth.
Okay, so the detached market is looking pretty good.
It is, yeah.
But what about townhouses and apartments?
Right. Well, the benchmark price for townhouses was about 489,000,
Okay.
which is actually down a little bit compared to the previous year.
Oh,
And apartments had a benchmark of about 379,000, also showing a year-over-year decrease.
interesting. So it's a different story for the multifamily market.
It is.
Uh,
Yeah, it just goes to show that it's really important to look at the specifics.
Yeah, don't just assume that everything's going up or down.
Exactly. You need to understand the nuances.
Right. Okay, so big picture, it sounds like the London market is a bit of a mixed bag right now.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
Sales are down, but there are some real positives.
Right.
Especially if you're a buyer.
Yeah, more inventory, less competition.
More breathing room.
Exactly. And the benchmark prices show that for a lot of properties, values are still strong.
So basically, if you're thinking about buying or selling in London, do your research,
That's
understand the trends,
Yeah.
and then make a plan.
Exactly.
Now for more information on all of this,
Yeah.
and to connect with the experts at Forest Hill Real Estate,
Hmm.
head to www.foresthilldistinction.com. They can give you all the personalized advice that you need.
Absolutely.
All right, that's it for this deep dive into the London real estate market.
See you next time.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.